All right.
And then Shelby, unless I'm supposed to stay on this recording, I'm going to do the intro and then jump over into the Learning Center with the people and watch on the big screen. Does that work?
Yep, that's perfect. Cool. Yes, and for those attending virtually, I'll put this in the chat, but if you go up to view and do speaker view, and if everybody could just please stay on mute, then that will have Sharon kind of taking over your screen, and that way you can see the presentation the best as well.
I don't think I said hello to Wanda. I see Wanda.
Hello, how are you?
Great, nice to see you.
The same.
Thank you.
Oh. All right, John, it is 10 o'clock. If you'd like to kick us off and do the welcome, then we can get started.
Cool, thanks, Shelby. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the EC September Speaker Series event. I'm John Murdoch. I'm our COO here at the Nashville Entrepreneur Center. The EC launched our EC Speaker Series in November of 2020 with the purpose of bringing in local and national entrepreneurs to speak to the entire entrepreneurial community. The EC serves founders from all phases of the entrepreneurial life cycle. And through this speaker series, we are able to hear some incredible stories from established entrepreneurs on their journeys, building their brands and making an impact on so many along the way. Today, we are excited and honored to welcome a new speaker to the stage, Sharon Reynolds, President and CEO of DevMar Products, LLC. Sharon started her company over a decade ago with the idea to develop and distribute environmentally friendly and innovative products. Since then, they've been recognized numerous times for their work, including being named the Green Hero of Nashville by the Nashville Post and the Nashville Area Chamber of Commerce, and being selected as the recipient of the Women Impacting Public Policy Business Leadership External Communications Award. Most recently, Sharon was honored as a 2021 Woman to Watch in the Nashville Medical News. So before I turn it over to Sharon, just one housekeeping note. If you all have questions virtually, please just throw those into the chat, and Shelby Brown, who is our producer for the day, will get those over to Sharon for the end of the presentation. If you are with us in person in this building at the EC, just relay your questions to Tina, who's in the room with you, and she will get those over to Shelby as well. And you can see a little chat. If you click the icon on the bottom of your bar, it should be on the right after you click it. So, with no further ado, Sharon, I turn it over to you. Thank you so much for being here. I know we have just a couple clicks to make sure that the screen's showing what all you want to do, so we can do that transition now and let you kind of lead the way for us. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you so much, John, and to the Entrepreneur Center. It really is an honor to be here, and I always love sharing my story. I brag about being a Nashville native because I love this city. And this city has provided so many unbelievable opportunities for me as I grow my businesses. So as you can see on our first slide, we are the DevMar family of companies. DevMar Products, DevMar Global Healthcare Solutions, DevMar Manufacturing, and Bryla J. Couture Clothiers, and we'll get into it. So we are advancing. I'd like to say that all of our companies have a purpose. The thought behind the ingenuity to bring these companies to fruition was centered on a long history of entrepreneurs in my family. I have two sons, and everybody asks me, where does the name DevMar come from? Our two sons, Devin and DeMarco. And there's a little joke about that because DeMarco is actually named after my husband. He's DeMarco II. And I remember asking them both when they were in high school, when I was thinking about this concept, I said, you know what? Mar Dev doesn't have a kick to it. And Marco, I know you are the oldest of our two sons. Do you mind if I flip it around a little bit? He said, oh, Mom, no problem. You know, they were teenagers at the time. And so later on in life, he's like, you know what? I am the oldest. Maybe I should have asked you to name the company MarDev. It's kind of a family joke. But DevMar is named after our two sons to continue the family legacy. My husband has a 35-year-old facilities management company called Reynolds and Reynolds Facility Services, where he's regional and serves Fortune 500 companies and the US government. So we launched, as John mentioned earlier, to distribute environmentally and responsible products that remediate pathogens. DevMar Manufacturing focuses on developing those products so that we have genuine QC for any of our products that are subject to the EPA and FDA regulatory compliance. And then, of course, we'll talk a little bit more about DevMar Global Healthcare Solutions. One of the main focuses of that company is that we distribute commercially sterilized human donor breast milk to at-risk infants in NICUs across the country. And then Bryla J. Couture Clothiers was named after my grandbaby, and we'll talk about a little bit more about that. But these are some of the specialty products that are unique in the marketplace where I can compete with the larger companies and the companies that are actually dominated in the industry. So we're a small business. I call us the little engine that could, and the little engine that can, and the little engine that will make a difference. Next. So it all starts here. I love this baby picture because it's me. And she looks like my one and only grandbaby girl, Bryla J. When I show this to her mom, she kind of rolls her eyes because she looks more like me than she does her own mother. But I love my daughter-in-law. She's very intricately involved in our businesses, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. 5 generations, Nashville. We've seen the absolute good, bad, and the ugly in this city. And of course, it is absolutely changing in the right direction. Like I said, I came from a long line of entrepreneurs. My grandfather, my paternal grandfather, was a very successful entrepreneur in the early 50s to late 60s. I had a car dealership and facility that would repair auto damaged cars, and was considered back then in middle class America. So I would watch him work day in and day out, even on Sundays. And I think he's one of my motivators that gave me the drive to be an entrepreneur. It's no small feat. It's not for the weak at heart. It's going to take a lot of effort and work if you decide you want to launch your business, or even if you're in business right now, you understand what it means to be an entrepreneur. And for those that tell you that are not working for themselves, that it must be nice to have the type of freedom that you have, and you can go on vacation anytime you want without anybody, giving you heat about it, is certainly not true. So we all know that to be the case. So it all started here, I think, with me admiring my family in their entrepreneurial journey. Next. And I mentioned earlier, Nashville had its dark ages where there was civil rights violations and segregation. Nashville was at a peak of unrest and injustice among African Americans receiving inhumane treatment. You can see John Lewis's picture on the right there, the Honorable John Lewis. And I remember when I was a little girl, I think I was 5 years old, we lived in Preston Taylor housing projects. My father had not gotten the job that he needed to support his family at that time. My mother and father were together. There were 6 of us. And I remember when the sit-ins took place and when the military tanks rolled down our street to go to avert all of the violence that was taking place. So you look at that picture, I was actually the sit-in counter in the center. I was 5 years old at that time, and I remember when all of that was taking place. It was just a dark, dark time for Nashville, and thank God things have turned around and changed in not only in the South, in the cities across America as well. We've got a long way to go, but we are going in the right direction. Next, Tabitha. So Nashville strives to do better, building an economic future. And this was actually centered on when the laws changed in advance of or after the civil rights issues that were happening. And when we go to the next slide, I say that because my father, if you want to go to that next slide, Thank you. My father was one of the first African-American firemen in Nashville, and I label him with perseverance. When he was able to come on board to the fire department, he was one of very few Black men in the entire country that had the opportunity to really protect our citizens in our cities across America. And you can look at his face. He was so prideful of that moment. I remember him taking that picture. I remember when he came home with it, although what he had to endure was unconscionable. As a first-time African-American on the fire department, was pretty bad treatment by our Nashville Fire Department. And I knew of his stories that he told me. And it really made me strong, because to see him get up every single day to go to work, to face the unthinkable, and to support his family the way he did, we eventually moved from the housing projects and into our own home, and building, or trying our best to build, that wealth gap for our family. He since has passed on and served the fire department for 35 years. And some of those same individuals that gave him so much grief were some of his best friends in the end. And I think the lesson in that, when I talk about this part of building and who I am and why I am doing what I'm doing, is to know that perseverance matters. The act of kindness matters. You don't always have to retaliate. And so what happened with him stayed with him, but he turned it into something great. And it ended up being one of the great citizens in our community. And he also fought very, very hard for issues he believed in, which was justice. Next, Tabitha. My mother, I label her as a woman of perseverance. She's still here today. She raised 7 children and has been the shining light for me, and to always give me the go-ahead that I can do anything. Some of the things that she wasn't able to accomplish due to the era that she lived in and grew up in Nashville, she would pass on to her children, her daughters in particular, to be smart, to have resilience. Don't take no for an answer. You can do it. And to move us in a direction where it really helped me to become one of the successful entrepreneurs that I am today. Thank you. I also have to bring, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring my dear Aunt Gloria Snell into this picture. She inspired me in so many ways. As a matter of fact, the picture on the left was when I was, I think I was in the 3rd grade, and she made that dress for me. It was an incredible moment because we were taking our class picture. She also made the dresses on the right. She taught me how to sew when I was a 7th grader. And by the time I was a senior in high school, I had 30 customers, and I was designing clothing for all of those customers, including high school kids. So I'd always go to school in the fall, and I never looked like any of the other kids who shopped at Casual Corner. And so things were different back then. I wasn't allowed to work outside the home. My father wanted me to focus on my studies. And so I became a seamstress and a fashion designer by the time I was a senior in high school. Next. Some of those fashions you see there, I modeled in my very early days when I was a student at Tennessee State University, and was able to model for some of the stores in the local Nashville. Enjoyed that, and it also inspired me again to continue my journey as an entrepreneur. Next. My business partner and husband is a big, big part of who I am. DeMarco Reynolds, celebrating our 43rd year this year. And he's also, I said earlier, a very successful entrepreneur with Reynolds and Reynolds facility services in Nashville. And so between the two of us, we share the same office. We play off each other very well, and our businesses are deeply intertwined. Could not have asked for a better business partner and spouse. He is the limelight of my life, and has helped me in all of these years to become one of the, I think, one of the business women in my family that I get to mentor our young girls who are growing up in our family all the time. And so I appreciate his support. Next. Friends and family are everything. This collage is there for a reason. A lot of these pictures you see are friends and family members who have helped me along the way, and I've actually helped them. You can't do it all by yourself. No man is an island. It is important to have those around you to support you, to help you to get to the next level, and to also give back. We'll hear a little bit more about how we give back as companies later on in the segment. Next. I started out early in mortgage banking. When I was 25 years old, I owned a mortgage company and I sold it when I was 29. I love that part of the journey because it taught me so much about finance and real estate and the things that were really, really important to help us build and fill that wealth gap, and then also to be able to give to others, to at-risk students who just needed a hand up and not a hand out to continue their formal educational journey. That was what my husband and I really prided ourselves on, because it was important that we were a part of the solution of those in this city who didn't have the means to continue their education. And that was something that we did, and that's something we continue to do today. Later, I became a real estate broker and was proud to have served the city and worked with some of these major corporations. And I was a real estate agent officially for the Titans for 10 years. And I enjoyed that journey to help families get settled in Nashville. And now Nashville is one of the hottest cities in the country. And we just can't have enough wonderful things said about what we're doing here. So I really appreciated the opportunity to spend time in mortgage banking as a career, and also in real estate brokerage. It was absolutely a fabulous ride until the economic downturn of 2008. All right, so what do? I was probably earning close to 7 figures when the economic downturn hit. One of the things I didn't do, and I will say this until the cows come home, is that the mortgages that were considered at risk, I would never engage my clients in those types of mortgages. I worked with first-time home buyers, which was the center of my heart in what I did as a real estate professional, but I also worked with some very seasoned home buyers. So I never was able to understand why so many were guided in that direction, but it did happen. And that false market absolutely created the downturn, as we all see it and as we all know it to be. So what happens when you're in a career where that's what your main livelihood is focused on? And that's exactly what was going on. It was an incredible journey, incredible ride as I saw Nashville continue to grow. And so the downturn changed all of our lives. Next slide. Well, I think it's called reinvention. And I say this a lot, never fear square one. You know, you hear people say, I got to start over at square one. Well, that's an opportunity for you to do something magnificent. Use your imagination, cure pain points in industries, take a step back and look at where your journey has taken you and what you can do to impact change. So the funny story behind that is that my husband at that time, his company was about 25 years old in facilities management. And I just came to him one day and I said, I'm going to sell you janitorial supplies. And his response was, okay, where are you going to get those supplies? I already buy my supplies from a local distributor and I get excellent prices. With you just starting, I'm going to probably have to pay more. I said, don't worry about it. I went to his distributor, which was a national distributor, cut a deal with them and said, okay, if you will allow me to sell these supplies to Reynolds and Reynolds Facility Services so I can grow DevMar Products. And that's when we launched DevMar in 2007. I'll make it up to you. And so one thing led to another. and I became the supplier for Reynolds and Reynolds Facility Services. I was also one of the first African-American women to take down a 5-year contract with the Metro Nashville Airport Authority in its 75-year history. So at that time, I think that we're celebrating year 75 in 2008. So we had a 5-year contract to supply janitorial supplies, paper towels, paper goods, and things of that nature. I was able to win that contract from many competitors, so to speak, very large competitors. I was able to go in with very low margins, and that's how we were able to do that. So never be afraid of never fear square one. Never be afraid of what it may the feelings you may have initially, because they could always turn into something magnificent and something great. Therefore, that was the start of DevMar Products. Next. And our vision is to become a world leader in the distribution of eco-friendly, sustainable products to create a safer, healthier environment. And that's exactly what we're doing. Little did I know that we'd be in the middle of a pandemic today. Back in 2008, we were looking at products that would make a difference, a differentiator. How can we set ourselves apart from the competitors? What can we do to be unique in such a male-dominated industry, and in particularly a white male-dominated industry? So I wasn't taken seriously at first. So that changed in time. I partnered with the Morehouse School of Medicine's research team, and we actually came up with a really unique product that I'll talk about here in just a moment. But we were there to make a difference and be a differentiator in our community. And that message has spread across the United States and abroad. Next. So, you always get the question about why choose your company? You're brand new or you're a very young entrepreneur. You must have a vision and a reason for being in business. So we created a unique line of ecological products. We hit the pain points of sustainability. Back in 2007, 2008, leaving less of a carbon footprint on our environment was paramount. You could no longer kick the can and say we are doing things that would help save our environment. You really had to not only talk the talk, you had to walk the walk. And to me, that really set off an opportunity for me to focus on areas where I could help our corporate customers and the military improve their carbon footprint. And of course, customer satisfaction goes along with that. Many things we can do today to make sure our customers are satisfied with our products and our services. And as we sit in the middle of the pandemic, we know it is very challenging right now. Lots of businesses aren't even coming back. So we'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. Thank you. Next. What I'd like to do is to show you a brief video of DevMar Products as an introduction.
Hi, we're the clean source for a safer and healthier environment. I'm Sharon Reynolds, President and CEO of DevMar Products. Our business was established in 2007 in Nashville, Tennessee. Our company offers cleaning and safety products designed to support commercial, industrial, healthcare, restaurant, oil and gas, transportation, and hospitality industries, as well as the Department of Defense and retail facilities to create a healthier work environment for employees, staff, patients, and clients. Here at DevMar, we are always striving to be part of the solution. Adapt antimicrobial surface barrier could not be more exemplary of how we do so regularly for our local and global communities. In the wake of COVID-19, it is not nearly enough to clean or even disinfect. Typical disinfectants kill viruses and bacteria within 10 minutes. But once the product dries, the clean surface is now ready to be recontaminated. Imagine needing to disinfect a surface every time it comes into contact with something new. That is the only way to ensure that a surface is clean with the regular use of disinfectants. Adapt ASB protects against future contamination. It is the first product of its type to be both EPA registered and FDA cleared for use on hard surfaces, fabrics, and food contact. With one simple application, Adapt ASB protects surfaces for up to 30 days. Our product is not a replacement for existing disinfecting protocols, but serves as a second level of defense against germs, odors, mold, and mildew. Our unique coating technology kills without poison and will not leach off treated surfaces to create superbugs. Using nanotechnology, the invisible coating literally neutralizes pathogens and destroys them upon contact. Adapt ASB reduces corporate liability, makes future cleanings easier, and eliminates pathogens found in carpets, trash cans, bathrooms, showers, and fabrics, and so much more. In short, Adapt ASB is a bacteriostatic, long-lasting, durable, and invisible non-toxic surface protector. Our innovative product protects the workplace environment from deadly pathogens, unpleasant odors, and harmful mold and mildew for at least 30 days with EPA and FDA clearance. Our vision has always been to become a world leader in the distribution of green and environmentally conscious products. It's really important to us to create that safe environment. Our approach to business is guided by the principles of leadership, inclusivity, transparency, integrity, environmental stewardship, and continuous improvement. With DevMar Products, we partner with Fortune 500 companies all over the United States, and we make a difference in their supply chains. We're the clean source for a safer and healthier environment.
Thank you for indulging me in watching that video. I thought it was important to share because in the middle of one of the worst pandemics I think our country will ever face and our world will ever face, we were in product development with that particular technology with the manufacturer long before the pandemic. So that's one of the products that we're talking to major corporations and the military and making sure that we have reach in the state of Tennessee, in schools, as we combat this deadly disease. So I wanted to share that with the audience. And you'll see more of the Adapt ASB. We have launched it officially in the Lowe's e-commerce platform, and we're looking at other major opportunities. So you will start to see that product because it does, the technology does work. Thank you, Tabitha. So with DevMar Manufacturing, it was important to, like I said earlier, to have products that would be compliant with the EPA and the FDA as regulations go by. I had an experience, I'll say, that partnered with the manufacturer, brought a major product to healthcare, was not part of the manufacturing process and didn't receive the reports until we received a letter from the EPA, which was a stop sale letter. And what we found out later was that that particular product that would eradicate Clostridium difficile, or C. diff, that is called in short version in hospitals. That product was actually watered down, to say it in layman's terms, and did not have the kill claim that was necessary with the EPA's labeling in under 5 minutes. So that taught me a lesson. We had to go back to the hospitals, give them the notifications to pull that product. We came out unscathed because we were not the manufacturer. There were no lawsuits, there was no harm, no foul, but it could have been. So that taught me that I'm not going to trust, I'm going to have my own manufacturing capabilities. And that's what we're working on right now. We have been asked by the U.S. Central Command to provide cleanup biohazard technology that's been tested positively against COVID-19 to protect the warfighters in all 4 branches of the military. Really excited about that. We're in our last stages of EPA's emergency exemption authorization, working through the Health and Human Services Division to bring that product to market. So that's very, very exciting. Again, we will have that product available to eradicate this nasty pathogen and any pathogens that will come. We partner with the Morehouse School of Medicine. We have 5 patents on this product. Very proud of our partnership with their research team. what we're bringing to the marketplace. And we also are looking to bring that on the private sector as well. So cleanup, biohazard absorbent, kills COVID-19 from vomitus, blood, urine, things of that nature, bodily secretions. So it's there, it's going to protect our war fighters, and it's going to protect the world. And DevMar Manufacturing, in partnership with Morehouse and a couple of my partners, we own the patent rights to this particular technology. So we're extremely proud of it. We are part of the solution. And that's what makes me get up every single morning and get up every day to see how we can make a difference in this world. I'm a natural germaphobe. I should have said that at the beginning of it. But I am. This suits me so well. I am a natural germaphobe, and I absolutely love making sure surfaces are clean and making sure we're protected. Okay, so you come to my house, you take off your shoes. You can actually track COVID in. So anyway, thank you. Next slide. Okay, a little bit about our mission and our vision for DevMar Manufacturing. The vision is really important to me, is that we want to be the most well-recognized and respected brands around the country while creating positive impacts on the lives we touch. We want to be a household name like Johnson & Johnson. Why not? And that we will be. Next. I want to introduce Cleanup Biohazard very briefly here, just so you can see how the technology works.
Biohazards are all around us, and they can be deadly. COVID-19 is a highly contagious virus. Anyone can get infected. And the virus spreads easily through restaurants, hotels, cruise ships, airports, classrooms, hospitals, nursing homes, and other crowded spaces. It's the leading cause of illness and outbreaks from in the U.S. COVID-19 virus results in respiratory infection, vomiting, diarrhea, stomach cramps, and can cause serious and sometimes fatal illness, especially among the elderly. Biohazardous and common spills, such as vomitus and diarrhea, pose not only sanitary concerns, but also risks of propagating deadly pathogens. Traditional spill cleaning procedures take at least 30 minutes from the time housekeeping arrives. As of today, there are over 28 million cases of COVID-19 in the U.S., with over 530,000 deaths. Many COVID victims have GI symptoms, example, vomit and diarrhea. CDC, FDA, OSHA, and other agencies have all issued permanent guidelines and regulations for biohazardous and common spill cleaning. Clean up with Adapt ASB 24/7 Antimicrobial Surface Barrier. It uses a patented liquid loading technology to eliminate pathogen hazards such as COVID-19. What makes our product unique? Our patented liquid loading formula contains an EPA-registered disinfectant and a dual-labeled EPA-FDA-approved bacteriostatic. Disinfectants kill bacteria, while the bacteriostatic stops it from growing and reproducing 24 hours a day. Its sustainable features provide a cradle-to-grave quality that's environmentally safe. Clean up with Adapt ASB 24/7, the only technology of its kind available in the U.S. today. Protect employees, staff, schools, our warfighters, patients, and the community. Contact us today.
We are so grateful to be a part of the solution. Again, Cleanup is a technology that I've been working on for 8 years, pre-pandemic. We actually geared that product toward norovirus, which is a nemesis in all of where we are surrounded, and also the Clostridium difficile in hospitals. We pivoted so that we could focus on COVID-19. But this product will eradicate all of those. So I'm proud, so proud of our technology. Next, I want to talk about very briefly DevMar Global Healthcare Solutions. I partnered with a group out of Portland, Oregon called MICU. One of my passions was to make sure that at-risk infants were properly nourished. My own grandbaby girl, who celebrated her 4th birthday yesterday, was premature. We almost lost she and my daughter-in-law during childbirth. little did I know that she would have to nourish on NICU, which is mom's milk. It is a human donor breast milk that is commercially sterilized without degrading the micronutrients and nutritional components of the milk. It was a miracle that the milk was available when she needed it, because she was so premature, she could not drink bovine or cow's milk. Cow's milk is for cows, goat's milk is for goats. Mom's milk is for human babies. And so we have about 4,000 mothers who are approved in the program. 1,400 mothers are donating their milk, or we have a program where they can pay it forward to the NICU of their choice, or they can be paid $1 an ounce for their milk. And some moms can stay at home with their babies. Their babies have to be a certain age, can't be younger than 3 months. It's a whole program behind this product. We partner with the American Red Cross. Moms are buccal swab tested, and it's a lot of technology that goes into bringing this product to the marketplace. Right now, the milk is in various NICUs across the United States and growing. So happy to be a part of that. DGHS is also focused on innovative medical technology, other products, and medical devices that will make a difference in patient lives. So I'm so happy that I launched the company, and I'm happy to have a great partnership with NICU out of Portland, Oregon. And I'm also happy to be saving lives in the NICU. Micropreemies develop a disease called NEC, necrotitis enterocolitis, that actually creates a gangrene type scenario in their gut system, in their digestive system, if they don't have mom's milk. Another iteration of this product is that it's freeze dried, and we're testing it now against Crohn's disease. So it really is nice to partner with a great group of people in Portland who are trying to make a difference in the NICU and in the lives of others. So I happened up on this situation with another product, and it's growing and it's strong. So when people ask me, well, how are you doing so many things at once? I have teams. I have people who are absolutely a part of what I'm doing, and I couldn't do it without the team. Who's advancing these slides is my executive assistant, and that's Tabitha. Tabitha is amazing. I couldn't do the work that I do without her. So I want to thank her too for helping me do what I do. Thank you. Next slide. A little bit more about the mission, the vision, and the core values, but the vision, I just would say for DGHS, is that we want to have worldwide recognition about bringing solutions against devastating illnesses. Very important. Next. Last but certainly not least, that's a sketching of my grandbaby girl, Bryla Josephine. Josephine, she's named after my mother, and she's just a beautiful little 8-month-old in that picture. She survived, and NICU was one of the reasons why she survived. So when I visited our younger son, Devin, who lives in Shanghai, took a job with Deloitte and had been with them for 7 years and living in Shanghai. And I don't think we're going to ever get him back home, but right now he can't come because of, the COVID environment. But we visited him, and I was so inspired. So I designed 75 pieces in my line and brought them back to the US, and we launched in 2019. We've had to take a hiatus, of course, because of the virus and the pandemic, and we hope to relaunch in 2022. My daughter-in-law, Latasha, is very talented, and she just launched a book series, Bryla's Amazing Imagination, Bryla Visits the Moon. And so we were just notified that both she and I are going to be vendors in the new Tribune store at the Metro Nashville Airport Authority under the direction of the Tribune and Mrs. Rosetta Perry. So we're really proud of that our accessories will be in that store filled with all African-American vendors. One of the most unique situations I've ever been a part of, and I think it's a one of a kind. So we're really excited about that. We launch as a vendor on November 1st, and Bryla J. Couture Clothiers will continue on until we relaunch the clothing line. Next slide. I'd like to show you my launch party in 2019. When we have the relaunch party in 2020, you're all invited.
Hi, I'm Sharon Reynolds, founder and CEO of Bryla J. Couture Clothiers, and welcome to our experience. We're going to have a fantastic evening. We're going to display our clothing and let you understand why we're here. We're glad to have you and welcome.
Sharon is such a phenomenal business leader in our community and is such an inspiration to all of us. As a professional woman in this town, we are so limited when it comes to options for dressing for success. And what she's providing to us through Bryla J is an option for professional women to get a nice tailored suit without paying exorbitant fees for it. And we can look and feel the part of being the powerful business leaders in the community.
I am not surprised at all that you would launch a clothing line on the eve of International Women's Day. Because I would bet that a year from now, this line is international. Would you think? I really believe. I want that pearly beat underground, twist me up, round and round. I want that pearly beat underground, twist me up, round and round. I want that pearly beat underground, twist me up, round and round. Pearly beat underground, twist me up. I want that pearly beat underground, twist me up, round and round. Pearly beat.
Part of our proceeds are donated to the March of Dimes and St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. That will continue. Fashion for a Purpose. And that's a little bit about Bryla J. Couture Clothiers. Next. Some of the fashions there, as you see. I was asked to replicate a lot of these, and we did. We have a lot of happy customers. We have over 12,000 women that were supporting us, and I think they'll come back when we relaunch our line in 2022. Next. And those were some of the headlines that came after we launched Bryla J. We're really proud of those. Next. I mentioned that we will be a vendor in the Tennessee Tribune store coming soon at concourses between concourses C and D, the Metro Nashville Airport. Really proud of the Tennessee Tribune store. Some of our awards and recognitions of hard work. No man is an island. Didn't do any of this by myself. It's been a tremendous effort with people I've surrounded myself with and our teams. I'd be remiss if I didn't say, go Big Blue. Next. That's Tennessee State University for everybody that wouldn't, for anyone who doesn't know that. I'm very proud of Tennessee State University. All right, some of the boards where I serve and give my time. And the community. We love supporting our community. It's important to give back. Those that are challenged, whether it's food challenged or housing challenged, or where there is need, where there needs to be support. I'm always willing to try to work in and help wherever we can. As a native Nashvilleian, no family should go to bed hungry. Next. The importance of certifications, as you'll see, we have numerous certifications in our businesses. Very, very proud to be a woman-owned business certified firm. And lots of companies right now are looking for women of color in particular to help bridge the wealth gap. Let me just tell you, ladies, women of color who own businesses, there's so many tremendous opportunities out there for you right now. And send me an email in the chat and I'll make sure I can forward you just the opportunities that I know of to help grow your businesses. There's no reason to not explore those opportunities. Next. Oh, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up my most favorite woman in the whole world and author, Michelle Obama. Success isn't about how much money you make, it's about the difference you make in people's lives. I love her. She's an incredible inspiration for me. And I hope that just telling you my story will not only inspire you, but will help you give more back to the communities in which you serve. Thank you.
Sharon, thank you so much. We have a couple questions that have come through, and I just want to remind everyone on Zoom, if you have questions, you can put them in the chat. So the first one that we have, we're live streaming this event at the EC, so we have people in person. We have a question. Early on, you mentioned the importance of the people who surround you. What is your best advice for entrepreneurs on how to hire and recruit great team members?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. One of my favorite authors is Jim Collins. Have you ever read the book Good to Great? If you haven't read the book Good to Great, please do. It was an eye-opener for me. Is that you put the right people on the bus, and then you put the right people in the right seats. Recruiting is important. I have used different recruiting companies that I know and trust, but you got to be willing to hire slowly, fire quickly. It's really important. You do that person a disservice if that person is not who you thought that person was going to be for your business. It creates really a tough situation in the work environment. Or maybe that's a great person who's just in the wrong seat. So I like using recruiting companies, I really do, but I also believe in putting those people in the right seat. People are really, really talented, but if they're not in the right position, they're not going to do you any good or your company. So thanks for asking that question.
Thank you. And then the next one we have, what makes you most optimistic about the future of your industry?
Wow. Well, I know they're going to always, we're always going to be dealing with pathogens and germs. We're always going to be dealing with making sure that we can keep our facilities clean and safe for our employees and our staff and just the citizens of our communities. One of the things I'm very, very proud of is that we've got such a smart team of scientists who work with us. That continue to create ideas and products that will address issues. We're dealing with the pandemic now, COVID-19. We're going to be dealing with something else in the next 7 years or so, if not sooner. So we're always trying to stay ahead of the game in how we can protect people and surfaces so that there's another level of cleanliness that's taking place. And I'll tell you, I've been traveling lately, reluctantly, but I'm traveling. But I've never seen such clean hotels and airplanes. I mean, it's like, why couldn't this have been the standard in the past? Now it's the gold standard. From HEPA filtration, the air we breathe is different. Marriott International is one of my customers, and those new facilities are being built at the hospital grade level. Love what I'm seeing. We're never going to go back to the old habits. I think a lot of people have learned how to wash their hands, and I'm so incredibly grateful for that, who weren't really focused on it as much as they should be. So I think we're going to step into an era where cleanliness is going to be treated totally different. And we're ahead of the curve on that. And we'll continue to create different products that will make a difference. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Okay, the next one we have come through. Who have been your most impactful business mentors?
Oh, wow. There have been so many along the way. I really I'm a person who sits back and I really observe other business leaders. Warren Buffett, I think, is just phenomenal. I love his approach, and I'm sure he means this when he says he's not really leaving his kids anything. Go make it on your own. It's and he does have them in a good position. But I love his philosophy. I love his business acumen. I love just some of the core basics that he stands for when he started buying stocks early on. Buy the stocks that are household names. You can't live without the products, and hold on to them. So I really admired his mannerisms and how he's conducted business and the decisions he's made of just being, I think, just keeping it basic, not getting it too complicated. And I do admire that. Sometimes we can overcomplicate business. When you really think about it, if you just think with common sense and use the technology that's available to you, you can really run, no matter what business area you're in or what business acumen you face, you can really run a great business just with those two principles. I've also admired my grandfather and my father. If I go back and look at family and how they've operated, my maternal grandfather and great grandfather were the best stonemasons in this city. You drive up and down West End Avenue and you look at those churches made of stone. That was a lot of their work. As the generational Nashvilleian that I am, my grandfathers made a difference here in this city. They were fantastic, especially when you think about all of the challenges they faced as Black men, and to still do wonderful work. I always admired them and continue to be admired by their resilience and perseverance. So those men in my family were my guiding post, I think.
Thank you, Sharon. And we just had another great one come through. For years, you've inspired upcoming individuals to take the next steps to grow and start their business. If you could go back to the early days of starting your career, what advice would you give yourself?
Note to self, I've asked myself that, and I've been asked that question a lot, is that I would probably not look at self-funding so much. I was a real estate broker, was earning a lot of money back then. And I did save. I was very judicious with my money, and I saved cautiously. When you're self-employed, you have to think about that. You have to think about how the market will change. You want to make sure you've got that 6 to 9 month emergency fund is very, very critical. Well, I did that, and I was able to self-start with my own capital. And I will say, though, however, banks were not lending at that time during the economic downturn. But as the banks and the market started to come back, I probably would have used someone else's money instead of my own. That's what I probably would have changed more than anything. And then getting the right people in the right seats early and recognizing that they were in the wrong seats early. Dealing with that issue is it's painful. So those are the two things I think I would have done differently.
All right, thank you. And we have time for a couple more. Let's see, we just had one. Being in healthcare right now can be a really stressful career for anyone, much less a business owner. How do you maintain your mental health through this journey?
Wow, that is such an excellent question. Self-care is really important, ladies and gentlemen. However you need to gain it, go get it. Take some time for yourself. Family is important, but that self-care, it's like you can't take care of the community, your family, and everything else you have to do to help your business survive without making sure you're healthy. So I actually have gone into my role to watch myself and intermittent fasting. So I'm along that track right now. It seems to be working for me. And then I'll also every now and then get a massage and just take care of me. Focus on me for a while, meditate. I love the Lord, and I love spending time in his word and meditating. So self-care is important. We don't do enough of it. We've seen our loved ones pass away during this pandemic, and it's not fun to watch. So if we have the blessing to still be alive and that we have our health and we're not burdened with the pandemic personally, it's about self-care, eating right, exercising. You hear all of that, but it really is important, because if your body is attacked by the virus, it needs to be as strong as it can be to get you through it.
Absolutely. We just had another one come through from the virtual audience. When it comes to the sustainable market for products, do you think it's a market that needs more diversity and inclusion? And how do you think the face of the industry can change from most African Americans being on the manufacturing floor to positions of management?
Wow. Oh. Well, I will tell you, in these last 18 months, that was an incredible question or questions. The last 18 months have really brought about a change in this country through the social unrest and injustices that people of color have experienced. Corporations are now opening their eyes to the fact that diversity, equity, and inclusion is important. Being a part of the supply chain as an entrepreneur is equally important. You've heard of JP Morgan Chase has a $30 billion initiative. Goldman Sachs has a $30 or $40 billion initiative for entrepreneurs of color. And it's not really all about the corporations doing their part. It's important. It's also about people seeking opportunities and seizing those opportunities. There are all sorts of opportunities out there for growth for African Americans, people of color, and it doesn't. All it takes is a Google search, because it populates. And I'll tell you a good example of Beyonce's Be Good Foundation, BEY Good Foundation, was just so generous last year. And I remember filling out an application because our business was initially impacted by COVID. Everything came to a screeching halt. And I submitted an application, and in 3 weeks, I had a check for $10,000. She's absolutely incredible. I would encourage you to go to that website. And then as far as moving from the manufacturing floor into management, I'd say make sure your skills are polished. There's so many opportunities to hone in and polish your skills. Online learning is, to me, it's fabulous. I secured 2 degrees online, and I absolutely enjoyed it. There's nothing you can't accomplish. Hone in on your skills. Make sure you're ready for the marketplace, because it's changing in technology, and so many companies are looking for talent. It's in the history of this country, it's never been so dire. I think that we have such a shortage of employees across sectors, many sectors in business. So make sure you're polished and ready to go, because you never know when that opportunity is going to knock on your door, whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you are working in a corporation. So I would say, I hope I answered your questions.
Thank you, Sharon. We have one from the in-person audience. Do you have any experience qualifying your environmental products as carbon offsets or carbon credits? Any info on offsets or credits would be greatly helpful.
We're asked that quite a bit by some of the companies that we're doing business with. We've got our products in front of companies like Mars and Sodexo and Aramark. And they've asked us to go get certain certifications for our company and our products. I'm actually delving into that now. I have a director of product development that really handles that. But if we say, for instance, cleanup, and I didn't mention this earlier, is a cradle to cradle technology, not beyond cradle to grave, made from volcanic rocks. So and it's perlite, zeolite, but that's all derived from our environment. So it's a highly absorbent powder made from earth. And so it's non-leaching in the environment. So the SDS or safety data sheets will detail that in full so that the customers can see that we do have products that are environmentally safe. So all the certifications that are required for us making those claims, we work on those and we make sure we can make sure that we can deliver before we actually make those claims with our products. Did that answer your question? Hopefully.
Yes, I think that was great. And it looks like we're at just about time. Is there anyone else that has any last minute questions? If not, I'll hop back on video here. I just want to say thank you so much, Sharon, on behalf of the EC for sharing your story. And we will have a recording. We've already gotten some requests for that. And we'll be sending that out along with a recap. So Sharon, thank you. And thank you to our audience in person for listening. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Shelby. Thank you for the opportunity. It was nice to be with everyone today.
Thank you. Your story is very powerful, and thank you for the important work you're doing.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.